So to get things started this morning, I'm pleased to introduce the defensive coordinator for the Penn State Nittany Lions, one of the nation's top defenses once again this year. Great effort against SMU and holding SMU without a touchdown until the second half. And with that, I'd like to introduce Coach Tom Allen. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning.
You're very welcome. Excited to be here.
We'll start the morning off with Rich Scarcella.
Thanks, Scott. Tom, thanks for your time today. What makes Ashton Jeanty unique? What are some of the challenges that he presents?
Well, boy, he's special now. I tell you, I've enjoyed, I don't know if I've enjoyed it, but it's been impressive to watch his film, studying him. I tell you, the thing that just sticks out, he doesn't go down. I mean, he gets hit and tremendous balance. I just think the ability for him to break tackles is really phenomenal. I think I saw 1,944 yards after contact, which is just mind-blowing, how effective he's been after people hit him. And just his toughness, his grit, he just carries the ball so many times. In today's game, that just doesn't happen anymore. So just so much respect for him. Then you hear all the different things about him as a person. So just a lot of respect for what he's accomplished. And he's a great, great player. So to me, it's about, finding a way to do the thing that most people can't do, which is get him on the ground.
Thanks, Rich. We'll move on to Seth Engel from statecollege.com.
Hey, Tom, thanks for the time. Are there any aspects of Jeanty's game that maybe show up in Nick Singleton's or Katron Allen's that maybe you've seen before in practice this year that can help you prepare for them?
Yeah, I think, he's kind of a combination of both. He's got the power that Katron brings, and he's got the burst, that Nick has. So you see both, and we've seen both, consistently during spring ball and then during training camp. And so I've gone against a lot of good running backs in the Big Ten, but he's different now. I mean, he's really, really good, but those guys that we played against in practice have really helped, and we think we have two really, really talented quarterbacks, which we do, or running backs, which we do. So, but anytime you have a chance to go against other elite guys, it's going to help you. But he does some things that most people can't do, and so it's just been something we take a lot of pride in being great tacklers here at Penn State, and you have to do that to play great defense. So, but obviously our biggest responsibility this week here is to find a way to effectively corral him and tackle him. So those guys have helped us along the way to prepare for that. Yes.
Thanks, Seth. We'll go to Greg Pickle from Blue and White Illustrated.
Coach, thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.
Going back to the SMU game, your first drive, you guys were a little chaotic on the first drive there until SMU called that timeout, and then you guys settled in from there. So when you look at the way you'll start this game, is there anything after reviewing that tape that comes to mind in terms of how you start fast on defense?
Well, first of all, I mean, you prepare for tempo, you try to as best you can, and you can't simulate it exactly like it's going to be, but I'm telling you, they went about as fast as I've ever seen a team ever go, and the officials obviously can help with that or hurt with that, but man, they were flying, and so it was until you get used to it. So like you said, it took several snaps to kind of get your cleats in the ground, get comfortable with where they're moving, how they're moving in and out of different formations. And so as you could tell, we obviously got way more comfortable as the game unfolded. But yeah, those first few snaps were really tough. So to me, it's just about making sure that we've seen now 2 games in a row really super fast tempo, and then you mix in some unusual formations as well, whether it's unbalanced tackle overs, unique looks, things that you aren't used to seeing, and maybe something you haven't seen from them, and I'm sure that's what we'll probably get from Boise. So it just helps you prepare for all those different things. Obviously different style of offense that we're playing this week, but at the same time they have the ability to do different things and some similar things that both what Oregon did as well with some of their looks. So anytime you have a chance to play elite teams and they put you in conflict, you have a chance to watch the film, you correct it, you go back and you try to look at the thing, okay, what can we do to help our guys be in a better position? Because at the end of the day, you got to get your cleats in the ground. You got to get your feet set. I don't care what you have called. There's no magic call, but it definitely won't work if you're not, set and your eyes aren't right and you're not in position. So just got to do a great job of that and just really be ready for the unexpected per se, and just the things that they may throw at you. So we're going against an extremely talented offense, one of the best in the country, and got extremely, talented players and a great coordinator that's had success, for his whole career. So a lot of respect for them. But yeah, we gotta have our cleats in the ground and gotta be ready to play from the opening snap, because this is going to be a 60-minute battle.
Thanks, Greg. We'll go to Audrey from The Athletic.
Hey, Tom, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
I wanted to stay on the Ashton Jeanty questions. Have you ever been around or seen a back like him, just in terms of a guy who can do so many things? Is there any kind of comparison for him? And how challenging has it been to try and get, I believe Holsworth was kind of running the scout team, just to get somebody to try and mimic all that Jeanty does?
Yeah, we played against Derrick Henry when I was at Ole Miss. Obviously, is taller, but similar in regards to very hard to get on the ground. A guy that can stiff arm you and just seem to just kind of play with you. He just kind of, it's almost like he's just he's up here and everybody else is just kind of just trying to jump on him. But it's hard to really say anyone like him. And we played some really good backs in the Big Ten the last 9 years I've been in this conference, but the one that kind of comes to mind would be as far as just the size piece, because it's just hard for different reasons, but it's hard to be able to. The thing that sticks out to me is how you get him on the ground. I've already said that a couple of times, but the way he's built, he's so low to the ground. I think that he really, truly is just kind of does a really good job of with his balance, and to be able to take on blocks or tackles and just kind of bounce off of them almost effortlessly at times. And it amazes me to just see how many good players have a shot at him, have a good angle on him, and just don't have any success at all of getting him on the ground, or you think he's about to go down and he does it because he has such powerful legs. And there's just not, we were talking about the strike zone. His strike zone is so compressed because of his build that it's hard to really get a good shot on him, so you're going to have to gang tackle him. You got to get every possible guy on that field around him, and they obviously will make that hard per their scheme and the way they do things, and have a really good offensive line that's very physical, and have a really good system to be able to do things off of what he does. So obviously we've played a lot of good backs over the years, but he's going to go down as one of the greatest ones we've ever played against.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to Devin Jackson from the Philly Inquirer.
Hey, Tom, thanks for the time. Just wanted to ask about the defensive line, Dion Barnes, what he's been able to do, coaching those guys, and kind of the disruptiveness they've been able to create this season against SMU. How impressed are you with that, and the job Dion Barnes has been able to do?
Yeah, Dion's done a great job. He's a young coach, but he does a tremendous job with his players. And a big part of that position is just really learn how to capture those guys. How do you motivate them? How do you really relate to them? And really, I think because he played here and he played, at a high level, and he's able to really get their attention and just coach and teach technique relentlessly, just over and over and over again, and to get them to play really, really hard, which that to me is what I care a lot about, is how hard you play. Because that just speaks so much to how much you care as a player and how much you care about your teammates, the people you represent, yourself and your family, and then your coaches, and so Dion is just, a guy that can relate to them because he's walked a mile in their shoes. And he's a guy that just really, really believes in the technique and fundamentals, and he grades them tough, holds them accountable. I love that about him. They all get treated the same, in terms of the expectations and how hard they're going to practice and how we're going to perform. And if it's not to that standard, he's going to, hold them to that, he's going to get after him and does a great job with that. And they respond to him, and that's really the key. So, that's what you're looking for when you have coaches. And obviously for me coming here, these guys were all here when I got here as a coach, and all the on the field coaches and just really, really talented group, and Dion is one of those. And so he's got a bright future, and I think he just continue to grow and develop. And I think even just for me working with him this year, it's been neat to see him grow, and just coming in and learn some new things that we're doing that maybe they didn't do last year, and also me, kind of picking up and learn things that they did last year that we're trying to continue to do. So I've relied on him to help me with that, and I really respect him and appreciate the job he's done for us.
Thanks, Coach. Jack Ruczynski from Com Radio.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for the time. Of course, we've talked extensively about, some of the more prominent aspects of Boise State's offense. You mentioned it earlier about the difficulty it is to bring Ashton Jeanty down. But what's probably the most underrated aspect of Boise State's offense that you've noticed on film?
Well, probably the quarterback. He doesn't get a lot of press. But just a tough, gritty kid that is accurate. And what they ask him to do is very, very effective. And that's a testament to the scheme that they put together. And Coach Cutter has done a tremendous job with that, and just putting in conflicts. So you just can't gang up on and try and stop the run game. So I think he distributes the ball well, and he can throw on the move, and the movement throws that they use with him, he's very good at. He's also got the ability to run the ball. He's made some tough runs, and some big runs at some critical times. It just seems to kind of just makes him go, and so I always look for that when I'm watching an offense, and just to be able to see, can he make something out of nothing? Can he, take tough situations and be able to, extend plays and get key first downs and make the right throws at the right time, and that's, to me, is a big deal. And then they obviously have some weapons at receiver and tight end. So they're a complete team. I mean, they've got good receivers, they got good tight ends, and they got really good offensive line that blocks, and plays hard, physical. And so, but I think if I had to just pick one guy that might be one that is really, really valuable, that doesn't get talked about enough, is the quarterback.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to Altoona and Neil.
Yeah, hey Tom. Wondering how much you guys used the Oregon tape. Did you guys, being a common opponent, how much that was a focus for you guys? How much you got out of that?
There's no question, because I mean, you've just played them here recently, so you kind of know, who they're going against, and the talent they're playing against when they played them. I know it's been several weeks ago that they played them early in the season, but yeah, there's no question. And I think that because of the familiarity we just have had with them and playing them so recently, so, and it's got our attention, right out of the gate, is the fact that they played them so well, at Oregon, which is a hard place to play. So there's no question that's you try and look at everything, and you look at even things in the past, and you're trying to figure out what they might do, to hurt you, so, but everything we can do, every person you can talk to, you just try to find a way to paint a picture for your players and what they're going to see and how they're going to, attack us. We try to, put that all together. And the Oregon game was a big part of that. Yes.
Thanks, Coach. John Sauber from Center Daily.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
Doing good. Cam Camper is obviously someone that you're familiar with, recruiting him into Indiana. How does he kind of open things up for Jeanty in that running game to allow them make this work?
Yeah, I love Cam, man. He's a special person, special player. Love his family, and so happy for him. He had a tough injury for us there, and it's great to see him come back from that. Now he's back to full health and full speed, and he's a long receiver that can get open. He runs really good routes. He's very smooth. Got tremendous ball skills. Yeah, he can stress you. It's his catch radius is really big, and he's a tough guy, and he just competes, and so I just, I know him well, and there's no question we got to do a great job of stopping him and preventing him from making, key plays and key conversions and explosive plays down the field, and that's what they rely on him to do, and he's done a good job of that, so, but he's definitely one of those another valuable pieces that makes them really, really difficult to defend, so we got to do a great job with Cam.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to Mark Wogenrich.
Hey, Tom. Excuse me. What were your initial interactions like over the winter with Dom DeLuca? And then how does his story resonate with you as the walk-on story?
Yeah, you just can't help but love Dom. Just, you sit down with him, so for me, we had a chance to go to have dinner together a couple of different times, and just to try it and had him in my office one-on-one, just talking, just getting to know him, getting to know his parents, and just getting to know who he was as a person. I love to hear his story. We always talk about, his high school days and playing quarterback. Talk about playing with a torn ACL, winning a state championship, and just all those different things. You just love the guy that comes here. It was his dream. We talked so much about the tailgating that his family has done since he was a kid, and they'd come here for all the games, and you sit there in the stands and watch these games since he was a little boy, and then come here now and he's playing and making those plays, and it's just what a cool story, and just for me, it's just so much respect. I kind of feel like, for me, I'm living my dream as well as a college football coach in the Big Ten, and I kind of, I could kind of consider myself a walk-on in the coaching profession. I had to come work my way up through the high school ranks and then the small college ranks, and didn't go right into the Division I level. It took a long time to get here, and so he had to earn it the hard way as well. He had to come here as a walk-on and earn it, and just to see him to make the kind of plays he made this last weekend on a national stage in front of the whole world to watch was just, man, this is so awesome. But I'm not surprised. He's a really good football player, and he's got so much, toughness and moxie, and he's really smart, as I've said many times, and can anticipate things. That's what's led to him getting those critical picks at critical times. And so just a great player, great person, fun to coach, and looking forward to having another year with him. And to me, he's just, he embodies Penn State football. Tough, hard-nosed kid that loves his place, loves representing his home state, and I'm thrilled that he's one of our leaders.
Thanks, Coach Joe Smeltzer.
Appreciate the time today, Tom. So obviously there's a lot of players on the defensive line that get a lot of attention. Of those players, Koziah Izzard might not be someone that gets talked about as much, but he had a really strong game against SMU. And as a veteran guy, what have you seen from him overall this season at defensive tackle? And how do you feel that he has stepped up, particularly over the past month or so since Hakeem Beamon and Alonzo Ford are no longer available?
Yeah, and to that point there, it made his emergence even more valuable and more critical for our success. And so Koziah has been one of those guys that when I first got here, when you talk to the coaches, you talk to the strength staff, they all talked about him. Hey, this is one of those guys where, we feel like he may be our most talented interior defensive lineman, from just a raw, just size, strength, speed, all those different combinations, and had kind of had some injuries and wasn't able to consistently be able to be, climbing as a player. So it's been great to see him just get healthy, stay healthy, be healthy here. And as you mentioned, really playing his best football recently and this time of the year when we need him to be doing that. And he played his best game of the season against SMU, and we need him to do that again, this next weekend here on Tuesday night against Boise State, So, but to me, it's just been consistency in practice. He gives a great attitude every day. He's an awesome young man. He's fun to be around. Always got a smile, and just works. And he's a big man. And so just being able to have him in the rotation now, making plays, not just out there taking snaps, but out there making a difference. And we're going to need him to keep growing, keep developing here these last few weeks of the season to help us get where we want to be and do the things we want to do. And obviously it all has to continue this week, So, but just really proud of him, and we need him to step up, and he truly has.
Thanks. We have some follow-up questions for you, Coach. First, we'll go back with Rich Scarcella.
Tom, how has Jaylen Reed's value to your team increased as years gone on, especially after KJ's injury? And in what ways does he make his teammates better?
Well, first of all, yeah, when KJ went down, I had to sit down with him and just, not that he wasn't doing anything. He was already one of our leaders, but I was like, hey, you're going to have to just take this thing to another level, and my challenge to him was, hey, you got to bring guys with you, and to get to Zach Key to be able to elevate himself and to be able to, I said, your role now is going to be, magnified, and not just in your game performance, but practice. And that to me was probably the biggest challenge and the biggest thing that we needed to make sure that he was, kind of filling that void, because KJ was such a strong, consistent voice, and just the level of consistency in his practice habits, it was pretty special. So that to me, I think has really helped, Jay Reed to be able to take that next step, and then obviously his role on the field, we had to make some modifications, in terms of him, not playing much of a certain position. He was playing a little more lion, position before the injury for KJ. And then he had to come back and play more in the high position there at the rover or the free. So, but I just feel like that leadership. That's probably the biggest thing where he's had to really grow and was forced to because of that situation. And it's been awesome to see him do that. And then the production has been, which everybody gets to see, and the key interceptions at critical times and the key tackles. And just, he's one of those guys that he's always texting me. He's like, hey, coach, just, put this on me. I want to, he wants to be the guy. He wants me to know I can count on him and trust him. And he's going to, have my back and he's going to get the job done, And so I know he sees that as we've moved into the playoffs here and felt that. And even with the disappointing performance against Oregon, I mean, he took that personal. And so I just think his leadership, his ability to make plays, and just all the things, his value to his team has just been elevated, because of the void that was created there. But also it's been neat to see him respond to that and embrace that and want to do that, because, a lot of times you can, you're a good number two, but when you got to be the one, it's not the same. And obviously those guys were such two great players that he now just became the key focus. He needed to be able to step up, and he has. So I think it's been to his benefit. It's going to help him even benefit, in his own future as he moves into the NFL when he finishes playing here.
All right, we'll take one more question for Coach before we move on to the student athletes. We'll go with Seth.
Tom, not sure if you have a list handy, but who are some of the 2025 signees who are practicing with the team right now? And what's the importance, of letting them kind of experience this week with the rest of the program?
Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me. Well, I do now. So, but we got a couple guys on defense, Braswell Thomas and LeVar Arrington and Darius Dixon. Those three guys are here with us now. They haven't started yet. They will here soon. I want to get their physicals and everything, but they were out of practice today. So, but I just think the benefit is getting a chance to be around the team and starting to learn how we do things. You get a chance to physically, participate. Those that are able to do that, and most of those guys will. And I don't think you can, put a price tag on all those additional reps that they're going to get, and just having it to where the next time we, get on the field, which will be spring football, it won't be the first time doing certain things and how we practice and the routines we go through, and they'll start lifting weights and start sitting in meetings and start learning the system. And so I just think that anytime you have a chance to be a part of something like this, especially now that we're in playoff mode and playoff practices, and then get a chance to go to the bowl site, and that's a pretty cool experience for our guys. So I just think that the practical example would be, hey, they're just getting a chance to play more football. And number two is they're learning the new system. And number three is like, hey, how do we operate, as a Penn State football player in terms of meetings, weight room, meals, bouncing all the things, being away from home for the first time, just kind of getting a chance to really work through all those things and get a chance to do it with your future teammates, which is a pretty cool thing. So excited to have those guys with us and looking forward to being able to work with them here real soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Coach Allen. We appreciate your time this morning here, this afternoon there, and we'll see you here tomorrow, I guess.